Hi, I'm Josh with LynkSpyder, and today we're starting an educational series on how to mount a LynkSpyder and a camera to a fence for recording baseball and softball games. We're going to go into a basic introduction of LynkSpyder, how long we've been around and what we do. We're going to talk about some of the various options and let you decide what works best for you. In the upcoming videos in the series, we're going to do a box to fence setup. We're going to do a video on the explanation of all of the various add-ons. We're going to talk about device-specific setups. We're going to talk about GoPros and Mevos and smartphones and other devices. We're going to do a multi-device setup where you do a GoPro and a smartphone and other various combinations. And then we're going to do a fairly controversial video on how to mount a LynkSpyder on a mesh backstop. So in this introductory video, we're going to talk about why LynkSpyder. All right, LynkSpyder came out in 2013. I needed something to mount just about any kind of camera that I had on just about any kind of fence, and I needed to do it quickly. I wanted it to be able to be on the fence, looking through one of the openings on the fence without fence in the shot. I needed it to be able to take an impact without that camera moving. And there literally was nothing out there at the time. I've got several other videos where we talk about the history and all the things that we did to come up to where we are right now. And you can find those on YouTube. But for right now, fast forward 10 plus years, we had no options before. Now you have a lot of options. We still think we're the best setup. And in this series, we're going to show you why. So first and foremost is material. We use laser cut 14 gauge stainless steel. Cars don't use stainless steel, and they certainly don't use material that thick. This is a very rugged material that will still flex just a little bit to form, say, a bent fence or something curved. It will shape and hold your camera in place. But it's very strong, and it's not easily bent, and it certainly can't bend to the point where your camera can be dislodged. All right, the second point are the four opposing mounts. All right, we've got these four claws that mount essentially 90 degrees to each other. That means that in no axis can this device move. If you really want to know how good your mount is, hold where your camera mounts and try to move it in any direction. If it moves, it's going to move whenever you take an impact. And the last thing is unlimited adjustment. This is what we call our slider bar. This is what mounts to the solid main plate, and it's held in place by two nuts. And with those two nuts adjusted or unloosened, we can move this up and down so that you can get this axis. We can move side to side so you can get this axis, and we can do tilt so that you can adjust with the level of the horizon. Once you get that set in place, then the last adjustment you have is this forward slide. You'll unloosen your camera and you can move it back and forth until you get it close enough to the fence so you just don't have fence in the shot. Tighten it down, camera's not going anywhere. So the first other option that we're going to talk about are fake LynkSpyders. Now you would think if somebody copied our product that you would get exactly what we offer, but you'd be wrong. First and foremost, anytime somebody copies your design, they have absolutely no idea what went into designing the product. And so they do things and they don't know why. And it's up to you guys to find out, and it's certainly up to them to find out what they got wrong, but they got a few things wrong that's not going to allow you the adjustment that you'll get with LynkSpyder. But the second, and probably just as important, is they use cheap materials. That's why they're able to sell their product for almost what we are able to buy the steel for just to get this thing on market. All right, that material is soft, it's rugged, it's jaggy, it's going to cut things, and when it takes an impact, it can actually come undone and your bracket will come off the fence. I'm not making this stuff up, I've seen it happen, but I've yet to see a LynkSpyder get knocked off the fence. Bungee designs. All right, the next thing that we saw come to market were bungee designs, and that's where you have some sort of main plate to hold the camera. It may or may not have any kind of adjustment on it, but it's all held in place by these four bungees. Now that may seem like a really quick setup, but the problem with that is, again, like I said before, the sanity check, if you can move this around, and you certainly can with a bungee, when that ball hits the fence, that thing's coming this direction, and it may do one of two things, or two of two things. It may come back and slap the fence and damage your camera. But just as critical, it may land in the wrong spot, and therefore you may have wire in front of your lens, and you're gonna get ruined video. The next very popular design is what I call the one-axis clamp design. These are those clamps that fit on these two wires right here, and you tighten it down, or you have a cam lock of some kind, and it holds the thing in place. And it's an intriguing design because it certainly allows you to walk up to the fence and tighten it quickly and walk away. But here's the problem. If you clamp in this point right here, it can move this direction. Okay? If you tighten it even more so that it doesn't do that, this wire is going to bend. And if this wire bends, you don't have a firm connection, and when the fence takes an impact, your clamp can come off the fence. All right, the last design I'm going to talk about is what I like to call the place and walk away. All right, there are designs that have these hooks and you walk up and you basically set it on the fence and you walk away. Those concern me more than just about anything, because if it sets on the fence and it doesn't clamp in place, it's gonna move. It's not about when it's gonna move, it's going to move, all right? The standards of chain link fence are pretty much none. There are hundreds of different styles out there. You've got different wires, you've got different opening sizes, all right? So the distance between one of these points is gonna be vastly different. And therefore, when you set it on those, you can't guarantee you're gonna be down in the valley of these points, and it's either gonna set crooked or it's gonna move. Or when you take a fence impact, it's gonna get in that spot. And again, it's very important to us that the camera stays in place so that you know you can record your video and walk away and not have to be constantly watching it the whole time, and know you're not gonna get fence in the shot on 2 hours of video. All right, so the last thing that we're going to talk about are those designs that have a built-in place shade. Shade is very critical. Today's a perfect example. It's really sunny. If your camera, like a GoPro or your smartphone, has an LCD on it, those LCDs are very susceptible to sunlight. They just take that sunlight and convert it to heat inside the camera, and your camera is going to overheat and shut down. So shading your camera is critical. It's not the only thing that you can do to protect your camera, but it is critical. But of all of the designs that we've seen, we have yet to find a better design for a shade than a ball cap. Ball caps are dome shaped, so they allow airflow around the camera, and they are a material based and not a metal based, so they don't radiate heat. Now, what we typically do is we'll take this and we'll mount it on our top nuts here, and we've got these magnets we call spider tacks. They're rare earth magnets, and they sit right on top of the metal inserts on our knobs. And that allows this to stay in place even if the fence takes an impact. The wind can blow, but your camera is still protected. Yet to find a better shade than hat. All right, guys, this is why we think that the LynkSpyder can offer you what nobody else can offer you. And I know everybody that sells something will tell you that, but we've been in this business for 10+ years, and I think that speaks volumes. As far as I know, we've yet to have a bracket that's been properly mounted knocked off the fence. That's critical. But more importantly, we think we're the only ones out there that can keep your camera in place so that it doesn't move out of position. If all of this sounds interesting to you, stay tuned to our next video where we go from box to fence mount. If you want more right now, check us out on LynkSpyder.com.